Well, you know what time it is.
All right, we are all set. Guys, welcome to our Sunday night stream. So, this is where we do our news section. Fix something here real quick because I don't want this interfering with us. All right. So, guys, welcome to our 7 p.m. stream. This is where we do automotive news. We cover topics for the week, and we do a recap of the video that we did earlier today. I'll cover a little bit of that video in a little bit here. Guys, thank you for subscribing. Thank you guys for hitting the likes. We are growing. We do need to continue this growth pattern, though. I really do want this channel to grow. There's a lot more content coming. There's a lot more I want to do. Guys, we have LS Goat sitting in storage. This is going to be a really nice sports car build. So it's going to be important for us to actually continue growing the channel so we can do some fun stuff with that vehicle. I can't do what I want to do with that car if we don't grow the channel. So it's really important to do those things, help us to grow this channel. I would like to bring merch here in the near future as well. So now that we're done with announcements, let's transition, everybody. I had to fix that. That was getting a little loud for you guys. So now that we're transitioning over, guys, let's do a quick recap of today's video at 3 p.m. So today's video at 3 p.m., we sat down with Ken Family MN, and they are an organization that does the barter system, that is working on a rideshare program. The Honda that you guys seen me do is their car. We really had to go through that car top to bottom and fix everything on it. The car needs to be reliable. They're putting a lot of miles on this thing, and this is just their first vehicle that they're doing this project with. This thing back here is also part of that same organization. So when we do the 100K service on this one, it's a little different than what we did on that Honda. The Honda had things that were broken that we had to fix. This one doesn't have things that are broken necessarily, but there are things that we need to do with that 100K service. The video for the transmission is going to be a big one. This is a common problem with GMs. We do need to address it. That being said, there's also some motor maintenance things that do need to be done. All right. Just checking things out here. All right, so now that we've kind of done the recap of what that video was about, we talked to them today about how they structured this organization the things that they're doing for the future. I did have some additional talks with them afterwards that we will probably talk to them later on again about these things. Some of the stuff that was brought up is they are in the early stages of setting this up. So that's kind of where things are. We will need to get this thing done rather soon than later. Next week, we will have a red Suburban in here next week. That red Suburban has a bunch of stuff that needs to be done. Crazy amount of stuff, actually. The Suburban has 100K on it as well. So we are going to go through, we're going to do the full 100K service on that truck. That one I may start a little bit earlier though, and do a lot of the minor things ahead of time just to kind of get up to speed on everything for you guys. So, all right, now that we're done with that, let's go ahead and let's transition over to the news, guys. Now that we've done that part. All right, so pull the news up here for you guys. They're first starting off right now with the Nissan Leaf, turning over a new Leaf, basically. This is just going to be a redesign EV. That's all this is, so. That's, you guys know what that sound effect means. That means we're making fun of EVs, so. Basically a redesigned Corolla. They're leaking what it's looking like. Again, this could be a decent car as long as they don't just make it an EV. It could be pretty decent to drive. And honestly, the Toyota Corollas are really good on fuel mileage. Oftentimes they can be fairly sporty if you get more of the sport model. The reason that they're calling this one super hot for 2027 is this one's going to really be based on performance. So this will be a performance model car. Scrolling down, we got the Subaru BRZ and the WRX. The BRZ is their two-door car, and the WRX is their off-road four-door car. Pretty sure the BRZ is only rear-wheel drive, where the WRX is four-wheel drive. Again, Tech is taking first spot at the auto shows. They're going to basically put vanishing screens. This is all Tech flash, guys. We've talked about this before. Flashy tech stuff is not the way to go. When this stuff starts breaking, it's extremely expensive to replace. I usually advise people not to buy top-level trim vehicles because of the issues they could have. So that is something for the future that we do need to watch out for. A lot of these cars that are coming with these big, flashy LED screens, they're going to have problems, and they're going to have bad electrical problems. Like I said, there was a vehicle, a Dodge Challenger owned by a friend of mine. The radio went out, and he lost controls for some of the stuff in the car, such as the seats, being able to move them, the temperature control of them. They're tying so much into radios nowadays that it's creating nothing but problems. Check the chat here quick, see who's popped in. Doesn't look like we got anybody. Right. So to check chats, we'll keep going. Roush is doing a F-150, but let's be honest, guys. The F-150 has some major problems already. Even if Roush gets their hands on them, they still have the recall issues that they got to worry about. So Ford is not sitting well. Mercedes secret project. Basically working with an F1 development team. So solid state batteries have been all of the rage lately, guys. Solid state batteries are one of those things where they've really been pushing the technology of batteries, making EV future and promising longer drives on them, meaning that they're going to get more mileage per charge. Like I said, in order for them to dethrone the gas world, they're literally going to have to double their mileage because of the amount of cost it's going to be to replace that battery. The massive cost of replacing batteries is what's really driving people away from the EV market. And it's not going to get any better on that front. It's going to keep being that setup for the near future. So, and when it comes down to it, the next one here, beware of rolling vehicles after parking. This is a Wagoneer and Daytona recall from Stellantis. It doesn't surprise me because after everything that we've seen in the Stellantis company, we're going to start seeing recalls. We're going to start seeing a whole bunch of issues. They're claiming to come back with a lot of the SRT programs. I'm not going to believe it until I see it. So this one's BMW is claiming that their new 2025 model is putting up great performance. This is, it all comes down to how they're going to do for the future. And I know the company is starting to lean very EV. So this one here, I'm calling this one as
you stupid.
Guys, this is a very deceiving article. They're going to do this because they're trying to get on Ford's favor. This is why we don't always trust news sources and why we don't always trust Motor Trend. We know they lean very heavy towards the EV stuff. We also know that they like to favor certain car brands. That being said, the Ford Lightning, look at the fact that they did the 2022 Ford Lightning 3-year verdict, meaning this was a 3-year test drive of this truck. There was another vehicle that they did a 1-year test. I believe it was Ram. We may have that article coming up. If not, I'll cover it at the end. But I'm not sure if Motor Trend's going to put this on their main page or not, but I'm pretty sure it was Motor Trend that did what was supposed to be a year-long test of a 2025 vehicle. They've already put it to the wood chipper and stopped their reviews. The problem is it had breakdowns and they couldn't get parts, and it was, yeah. So we'll see if they talk about it. Otherwise, I will cover it after the Drive news site. So apparently there is a new law that they're trying to appeal on the EV side for the charging codes. If you guys remember here a little while back, there was an issue with the charging and the fact that certain chargers were not charging at a level 3. Level 3 chargers charge a lot faster. The problem is that no one's talking about, guys. When you charge fast, it creates heat. Heat is what destroys batteries. Extreme cold also does damage to batteries, but not as bad as heat. So the faster you charge a rechargeable battery, the more you're going to shorten the life of that battery. Those are just the battery facts. Take a battery in a laptop or in a cordless drill or an electric impact. If you are charging the batteries constantly, they're going to get hot, and eventually they're going to start losing performance. Same thing's going to happen with the cars if you're always charging on a level 3 charger. You're going to overheat the battery, it's going to do damage, and it's going to shorten the life of the battery. But when you're out on the road and you're trying to drive from place to place, you want to charge it quick because you don't want to wait there 10 to 12 hours while this thing charges. This is why I said EVs are not practical, guys. I've said this before. I'm going to stay on that hill. They're not practical. They never will be. You don't get the mileage out of them. It takes too long to charge them. And if you do charge them fast, you're shortening the life of the battery. These are just facts. All right, just checking a few things for you guys. On going here. Some of these I'm not even covering because some of them are EV stuff that we've talked about in the past. Some of these are puff pieces that are not worth talking about. So they're basically making a Heritage Edition 2026 Nissan Z, celebrating the turbocharged 90s cars. This is just to get people back buying Nissan. Guys, Nissan's about ready to go under. And the reason they're in such bad shape is they've made a lot of bad mistakes. And they went too hard into the EV and it failed on them. They weren't able to sell enough models, and the company is about ready to go under. Without investors to save the company, it will fold.
Well, I sure hope somebody picks up that phone, because I f***ing called it!
Ford having more recalls. I called it, guys. I told you the recalls were going to keep coming out of the Ford camp. They've cut corners for decades. They've made mistakes. They have failed to address their shortcomings, and now they're paying for it. And so many Fords are being recalled at this point that if you do own a Ford, chances are it probably shouldn't even be on the road. Between airbags that are not safe to be on the road, to electrical issues, to transmissions and engine issues, it just keeps getting worse for the Ford company. They can't get ground. And the minute that they think they can get a little ground underneath their feet, they have another issue. I mean, they're recalling the new Mustangs because of electrical fires. They're recalling the Super Duties due to motor issues and airbags. All their older vehicles are having airbag issues. Honestly, it's like they took the cheapest route on their airbags that they possibly could, and they started pumping these vehicles out, throwing these airbags in them, and now they're eating the cost of taking that shortcut. So, lesson be learned, don't take the cheap route. Taking the cheap route can cost you quite a bit of money. And this is more EV stuff, more EV. It's getting to the point, guys, that I almost can't even cover Motor Trend anymore because they are too much. Again, we're going to puff piece a Ford Lightning that nobody's buying. Guys, these car companies are not learning their lesson. You know, we talked about Elon and the fact that he's trying to boost Tesla when Tesla's on a downhill slide, guys. Honestly, he's pulling big money from it, and they're not selling enough cars. What that's going to result in is eventually the company is going to implode, and he's going to take all that money from Tesla and he's going to roll it into something else. Mark my words, it will happen. His company took a massive hit when he started supporting Trump and when he started supporting that side of the aisle. Most of his customer base was Democrat and oftentimes left-leaning Democrats, and they saw it as a betrayal. So they're not buying Teslas anymore. That's why people were torching the dealerships. Now, in my mind, that's still an L, because when you're resulting in doing extreme stuff like that, all you're doing is causing the industry to suffer across the board. But these people don't care because it's all about their emotions and not about facts. Checking a few more things. All right, let's flip over to our last one here, which is the car news. This site is The Drive, and all they do is car news stuff. Again, we see a lot of topics from this place, from The Drive, as what we do from Motor Trend. Very similar in their sites. Sometimes the articles are very similar. Sometimes they're different. So this was posted earlier this week. Ram is going to be offering a mid-size truck, and this is going to be their Dakota entry into the market. I'm going to guess that it's going to be built on a platform that will be able to be EV'd. And I think they're going to do a Huracan version with the 4-cylinder turbo. In my mind, that's going to be a bad bet no matter what you do. So it's until they can come out with a solid engine platform that's going to be reliable, I don't see this as being a big seller, and they're probably going to shelf it like they've done with Dakota trucks over and over and over again. This article, they're claiming that they're going to be bringing back the SRT, and they're going to be putting a Hellcat engine in it, but it's only going to be available in certain states. 17 states will not be able to get them. They're claiming emissions, which in my mind is... Bruh. But it is what it is. We can't fight it, but once they're out and they've been bought and they're all over the country, they're going to cross state lines no matter what. Certain places are going to be really restrictive, guys. Honestly, California is a cesspool and a dump. So as far as I'm concerned, they're probably not going to get any of these because they're just not going to let you register them. Other states will probably allow you to register, but you won't be able to purchase them brand new from a dealership just because of the restrictions. Again, this is all political, guys. All of it. On the Ford news, again, we're going to be seeing a bunch of recalls ranging from the Mustang, the F-150, Ford Explorers. A lot of it's going to be wrapped around safety, electrical, and engine issues. So those are some of the other issues that we're going to see from that setup and from that company currently. Ferrari news might be interesting. We'll check that out. The new Testarossa has an army of haters. So basically, the new Testarossa, they had a version of this back in the 80s. And Let's see. I got a feeling I know what this is about. So there's a lot of mixed reviews. People like the old cult version of the Testarossa. This is the 80s one that I'm talking about that's so popular. And people are already saying that they hate this design. And that will hurt them as far as the sales of them go. If people have this car in mind and they're looking at something like this and it's called that same car, guys, we seen this with the Dodge Charger. When the Dodge Charger came back, originally it was a two-door car. When it came back, it was a four-door car, aerodynamic. Now they've reverted it back to a two-door, but they made it an EV. This is going to be a very similar thing here, where they're going to try to get people enthusiastic about buying the car by giving it the name of an older car that has a cult following. And unfortunately, it's going to be one of those things where it may not compete even with their 80s version. I'm looking here to see what it is. So they're saying a twin turbo V8 for the new car. The old one came with a very famous V12. Very reliable, but very expensive to maintain. So scroll to the next page here. Try it. Oh yeah, this guy here, he got caught drinking and driving in a Hot Wheels power truck. This guy was definitely...
You stupid.
You know, it doesn't matter if it's a motorized, any motorized or engine-powered vehicle, you can get a D-dub, guys. It don't even need to have plates on it. It doesn't need to be registered. If it's motorized, you can still get a DWI. So just know that if you're trying to do this to try to skirt around the law, it ain't going to work. Again, we got Ford News. They're showing the EV. Tesla. A lot of these are topics that we're just not going to cover. Some of the EV stuff, I'm just getting so sick of it, guys. I just don't want to cover it anymore. Usually, unless it's a standout topic that we need to talk about, I just kind of let it slide. We did talk about Michael Jordan's race team. So it'll be interesting to see how this development keeps going. Again, this was about 2 weeks ago. So we are pretty far back here on the news. I think I've covered everything that brings us up to current on news here. So let's drop that down. Awesome. All right, guys. Don't have a lot else going on here. Check stream. You guys got anything in? Chat it in down below right now. We'll talk about any topics that you guys want to talk about here for a few minutes. So chat in your stuff right now. I will be looking for some other news sites, guys. I'm getting burned out of dealing with the EV stuff. It's getting monotonous, and it's not worth my time and effort. Scrolling through the news, if we can't do good, interesting news topics for you guys, and all we're going to do is sit here and complain about EVs, then it's this part of the show isn't worth doing if it's all going to be negative EV. And unfortunately, I try to bring you guys the recall stuff. I try to bring you guys new developments and new technologies. I try to show you guys where the good ones are, where they're not. You know, anytime we can improve fuel mileage, anytime we can perform or we can get better vehicle performance and longevity, those are the things to talk about. Talking about stuff that has a bunch of recalls isn't where it's at. Unfortunately, Ford has just had a massive ton of recalls. It's crazy how much they've had for recalls. So to wrap this off, why don't I do this? I'll give you guys a sneak peek of what's going on. I'm gonna break this down for you, and you guys get this over everybody else. So here's the deal. Champagne Bubbles is back from Kia. What we found was that the timing chain tensioner had failed. It collapsed. They use oil to pressurize the cylinder. That cylinder failed, causing the timing chain to slack. Now, I need to get a lot more info on this because I need to make sure there isn't bent valves, bad pistons. They said there was no other damage other than the timing chain set that they fully replaced. That being said, the car should be good to go. We're going to test drive this for the next month or so. And if there's anything that I'm getting a bad vibe on, that it's not running right, or I don't think it's going to last, we're going to go ahead and sell this car. We're going to look for a two-door Jeep Wrangler. That's really what we're going to look for the future, just to kind of help get some reliable wheels in the door. That's what we're going for. Guys, we've already upgraded the truck, my daily driver truck, which is Big Red. We still got Crimson Vortec, which is our backup vehicle, basically. It's the one we use when other vehicles need to go in for service or when things go down. So that one's a backup. It's not a main daily driver anymore. I'm taking it out of daily driver status, and it's going down as backup. We added LS Goat, which is a Pontiac 04 Pontiac GTO. That car is going to be very awesome. We've got a lot of cool things planned for that. Once we get that stuff up and going, guys, we'll be sitting a lot better with those. So, guys, I broke down the vehicles, kind of what happened. Some of the stuff at Kia, they had to go through and fix a bunch of things, take the whole top end of the engine apart, look at the camshafts, check to make sure the whole valve train was good. There was a lot of things that were taken apart on this car. There are some things I need to go through and double check, but honestly, if we're going to have problems with it, it's going to go down the road. If it's going to be a good car, guys, we might keep the car around. It's paid off. It doesn't owe us anything, but I need it to be reliable. I need to know that when we go to hit the key and start it, that it's going to be reliable. Unfortunately, I have my questions right now, and it'll take a month or so to figure that out. Once we do, then we'll make that decision. So, guys, I want to say thank you guys for tuning in on this Sunday. If you guys tuned in to our earlier show at 3 p.m., we interviewed kenfamilymn.org. They are a nonprofit that is helping families with many different things. Not only getting them things that they need, but also helping them with moving at times, also helping them get to and from a new job that they may have started. Again, they got a lot of processes that they're doing. So it's one of those things. If you guys want to support them, go check them out at kenfamilymn.org. And with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you get notified when I go live. which is every 3 and 7 p.m. on Sundays. And as always, guys, I'll see you on the next